Okay, to understand all of the above, namely, he's speaking the mile of Chesed Atzilus, which is called Chesed Zuta, over Chesed of Arech, Chesed, which is called Rav Chesed. To understand this further, so he explains the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos, the two opinions. When one says Shali, Shali, V'Shalach, Shalach, what's mine is yours is yours, is it mid the baininess or mid the sdoim? The difference is, so the Tanakama says that when would be mid the sdoim is only if you get and I don't lose. Never mid the sdoim. Zen man, if there'll be mid the sdoim. But if Zen man, but if through the ashpa, so the mashpia is lacking and the mashpia doesn't give, that in other words, shali, v'shaloch, shaloch, that's mid the baininess. That's acceptable. The second Tana, who says midas doim, says no. Shali, v'shaloch, shaloch, to maintain that and say that if I'm only getting mashpia, if I don't lack, that's midas doim. You have to be mashpia even when zechos, when the mashpia lacks. So explain, this is the difference between shefa and oir. Or actually, first, makifim, oiris makifim, and oiris pnimi. Oir makif is mashpia and remains unchanged in dashbar. Oir pnimi obviously means it's invested in the makabel and there's a change. That's what chosim means, a change. And that's the difference explained between oir and shefa, and the marshal he gave is, for shefa, is giving over a seichel. The marshal for oir, you don't need a marshal, it's moir. The moir illuminates, and the fact that the sun is seen and its light reaches one place or another makes no difference to the sun. Even the ashpa, even the dung heap is illuminated by the sun doesn't become sullied by the fact its light reaches the ashpa. So that's oir and moir. That's zen and zel lechoser. But the ashpa of seichel to teach is to invest. And certainly in the marshal of water that's, in other words, shefa is mahus dova. Shefa is giving over a piece of the mashpia. And oir is not giving over a piece of the mashpia. Oir is the mashpia just is present, and his present radiates. We might have a little bit more isis in the rest of the oils. So you have the simple marshal. The shefa is water. Pouring water from a source, so it's depleting, literally depleting the source as the mahus dava, the actual water, now is received by the recipient. So now we're in the middle of explaining these two differences, further detail. So again, the Mikol Shkein, so let's pick up Mikol Shkein, the ashpa of water. So that would be Perek Dalet, the nearest number, and the nearest ha'order, between 31 and 32, mamish in the middle. Find ha'orah 31 and find ha'orah 32. And you'll see in the middle of the page, I don't know how your page is set up, but it's the same as mine. Yeah, Mikolshke, in the middle of the page. Talking about shefa now, not oir. The word shefa implies a flow, implies a source that's giving of itself. Because Mashpos Dover Gashmi, so for sure, Mashpos Gashmi, we can see this how the Mashpia it's changed. The first marshal I gave was what? What was the first marshal? Shefa, the first marshal. I mean, Kolsh came from the first marshal.
Teaching.
The valley? Which one?
Yeah. So how much more so bashpos davar gashmi ki shifas mayim, like the flow of water. So when the water flows from the source, then it's missing from the source. That's tangible. The case of the teacher is not missing anything, other than he's missing the time that he could use to advance himself. So he's missing in that sense. And he's certainly changed. Chassid means change. He's compromised. He's gotten into a world that's not his world. And he explained earlier yesterday, this before the Hashpah, during the Hashpah, and after the Hashpah. A true teacher, as we explained yesterday. So how much more so with the water? Can we shift us like the flow of water? So when the water flows and it's drawn, they're no longer there. They're first the primary place, the original place. So this is a hashpah where the recipient benefits, so this was a machlekes in the Mishnah, whether that is demandable or not. The Tanna Kama says that's not demandable. That's shali, shalach, shalach. I have mine, yours is yours. I'm not going to give of mine that you should have yours. So the second opinion said that's midas doim. The first opinion says that's justifiable. That you don't have to compromise and become less in order to be mashpia. So the two dargas, oir and shefa. Bashenke nam shochas oir, at the level of oir, all this is going to go back again to the Alter Rebbe's letter. Ba'oifen shezenen v'zeh loichas. Oir is mashpia in the way that the recipient receives, but the moed remains unchanging. Why the fisha oir ha'orah bilvad? Oir is not an investure of the source; it's only a reflection. It doesn't change in the luminary. The example I gave again is the chassid just being in an environment. He's not engaging anybody, and his presence radiates inspiration, and people are inspired and receive from him by his mere presence. So there's no shinui in him. Why? Because what's he giving? Only ha'orah. Ha'orah means light. What light means? What is light? Light is not the substance itself. It's just you're seeing it reflected in the light. As we explained many times, how does light work? How does sight work, really? Why do you see something that's over there? How do you see it? There's a mountain, a camera. Think of a camera. There's a mountain there, you click over here, the image of the mountain's on the camera, the screen, and this happens. Because the light is reflecting off the mountain, and projects the full image of the mountain. My love of Oir is that it's a faithful rendition of the mamish of the mountain. It's not something else. It is the mountain. And it projects literally. It travels at a speed of 186,000 miles per second. If there's no light, you click the camera, you're not going to get the image. So on the one hand, the speed, this is a whole sugi with 100,000 memorim. Not 100,000, but hundreds and thousands of memorim. What is Oir? That Oir, on the one hand, is Me'ein HaMo'ir, it's a faithful rendition of the Mo'ir. On the other hand, it has no metzias for itself. It's just Oir, it's just reflecting the Mo'ir. Whole metzias is expressing the Mo'ir. And the Mo'ir is not working to output this, it's just being. And the natural property of light expresses it. So it's not a mahus dover, it's a ha'orah. It's not giving. The mountain isn't giving itself. The mountain didn't come to you. The mountain is there. It doesn't even know that you exist. It's on in your mind, in your camera. The mind is the eye is a camera, a very sophisticated camera. You open your eyes, the same thing. If the image is imprinted on your brain, that's the film. Why? Because the light is traveling. That's why I see you. So obviously, again, being seen, because I naturally radiate my presence because of the property of light, which is milia ha'od, it has no metzias for itself, other than to reflect that which is bounces off. So therefore, there's no change. So it's only ha'od, there's no investure. Further in the minor. Because all light is merely a reflection. It's not an investor, it's a reflection. So it doesn't make any change in the source of the light, the luminary. The luminary is not mutrid, means troubled or working to produce light. It's a source of light, the light just projects from it. It's not a decision. Its presence is known. That's not a decision. If you have a metzias, it's known. That's what oil means. Its presence is felt in the environment. Work and making, just being causes the presence to be felt. In the Moishe of the chassid, he comes to town, there's anybody, sits in Besmedesh, learns the davens for a day, and the whole town is talking. Doesn't even know anybody, saw him, he's doing his thing. That's oil. That's a moshel of Moed Oil. He's doing his thing and he's being seen and observed and inspired. Not only does the source not change by the fact that he's seen, light itself also doesn't undergo any change. The light itself. It's just projecting from the Moed. What the Moed is, the light is going to be. I'm going to see in my mind what that thing projects. That's it. The light will unchangingly, unless it's corrupted by something gets in the way. But if the light is just allowed to express itself, light doesn't change. It's dovok in the Moed. It's me'ena Moed. It will express the Moed. Period. Exactly as the Moed is, the object, the Moed, that it's bouncing off, that it's reflecting, that it's projected from. Since light is of the stuff of the Moed, of the luminary, just like the Moed just is and isn't changing, just by being, because we're talking about you're not investing, not engaging, you're just being. So the light that's projected also doesn't change. Doesn't change either from the Moed. Whatever the Moed is, the oil is. It reflects faithfully the Moed. Everything has a source in Nigla. The famous Gemara in Sanhedrin, Rashi brings it. The sun's light rests on everything equally. It's an answer to the Apokryphos that asks how many shchinas are there. The fact that Hashem radiates in different places doesn't mean there's more than one shechina. It's one source, and a dung heap is illuminated, and a diamond illuminated, and all the Moed is unchanging. And the light that projects in the Moed to those places is the same light. Shemei, Gamba Mokim Ma'ashpa, that the sun illuminates even the dung heap. Mekomokim Nisha Muhusay, that doesn't change the sun and iota. Then in Mishtani there's a klal that doesn't not change at all, even though it's apprehended, it's seen, it's observed, and illuminates the dung heap as it does a pure diamond and so on, equally. So that's the difference between the oil and shef. Again, our example is the chassid being, the chassid fabrenki. The chassid fabrenki is shefa, the chassid teaching, the chassid being is oil. Both have influence on the environment. In one case, it's zen nene v'zeh loy chassid, that's what he's just being. The other one is zen nene v'zeh chassid. He's investing. He's giving over hashpom, who's dover. He's changed internally. He has to go through, has to get involved in the kelim of the makabel and tailor it properly and invest. And he's affected. He's a true mashpi. He's affected by the accomplishments and by the failures. It affects it. A true teacher is affected by his students, not just a machine just producing words. He's engaging constantly the matzav of the makabel and being mashpia accordingly. It's a very big chassid. Of course, as I said yesterday, the paradox is the mitamidei yisimikulo. The dafka through hashpah, the mashpia, never mind, like chassid gains, but that's not overt. That comes later, and that's subtle. And it comes later. It only emerges later, not during the hashpah. It's chassid. He's sitting and learning himself and advancing his knowledge and so on, and he's answering Darsha questions in his world.
I think it's like that law giving, he gives it stuck into a temporary chassid, the Ibsh is giving it back to you eventually.
See, same kind of thing. When you give tzedakah, Imam is giving him this stuff, so you're missing. But at the end of the day, well, it's not obvious, but it needs faith. You 100% good example, the mashpia gains. That's a big avodah, right? Because right now, let's continue. But now he says like this.
Can I just ask you, said you shared how the light is related to the to the chassid, but how is the light related to the shefa, to the way the chassid gives?
It's not. That's called shefa, that's not called oir.
No, yeah, I'm saying when the chassid gives. When the chassid gives and is mashpia, how does that relate to light? How is the light?
It's not oir. That's called.
Oh, I thought that maybe relates to the tzimtzum of the light.
No, right now that's separating. That's shefa and that's oir.
Mm-hmm.
When you just are, the effect you're having is oir effect.
Okay.
When you teach and fabreng, that's not oir, that's shefa.
Okay. What does shefa mean?
Flow, hashpah, giving over something.
So it doesn't relate to light.
A flow from the source to the recipient.
Okay. But the source is the light.
No, it's not. The marshal is not light. The marshal would be,
or
the marshal would be a teacher, not light.
Okay.
Not light. However, now he's going to say.
I still want to know what's midas doing. That doesn't fit well.
What?
When someone does it, sheli v'sheloch sheloch is that, right? It's oil, it's not shefa, because but still some opinions saying that it's midas doing.
Yeah. If you're not ready to give up, that's midas doing.
Yet he's giving oil without them wanting, but
he's happy to have an influence, it shouldn't cost me anything.
But that's
so one opinion says, okay, well, you can ask a person who said a nefesh, you can't ask. And the second Tana says, that's midas doing. Okay, we'll see further in the minor. And how critical this is to the Alter Rebbe's letter. And now he's going to add, so now we just separate. Now we just separated, there's two kinds of hashpah, oil and shefa, and they're not the same. The moshel of oil is light, literally, and the moshel of shefa is either water, or a seichel, a teacher, or tzedakah. Now he says, no, I'm sorry, go out. So just below number 32. In the same way that in the big picture, we drew the distinction between oil and shefa, two different kinds of hashpah. We can actually find it's much more subtle. So the point, Rivka, that you were saying is true even in oil. Now we're adding this. This is now different to what we said before. But there is also a difference between in the oil itself. It's more difficult to understand, and we'll try and explain it. So there's two kinds of oil. There's the oil pnimi and oil makif. It's translated. Oil pnimi means an oil that is internalized by the recipient, and therefore an oil that is tailored to the recipient. And then there's oil makif, an oil which is not tailored to the recipient and affects the recipient not in an internal way, but in the external way. I'm trying to give a marshal, let's first get the ICs. The amit is ingin of oil, so the true ingin of oil, she'ein by shino, which we said, light is unchanging, it's a constant and faithful output of the ma'or, and that any effect on the environment is not because of any change, any investure of the mashpia. So the true union is b'chinas oir makif, when it's an oir makif. Mash enke b'chinas oir pnimi. Now an oir pnimi, that implies, as just mentioned, tzimtzum. I'll give a mashal in a second. Kivin shel misamtzum v'erach hamakablim, since he's misamtzum according to the recipient tzarei chosel. So there is a relative lack. What's the mashal for this? So a mashal would be like this. So there's three ifanim in the chassid. There's three matzovim. So one is he's approaching oblivious to his surroundings, and he's oblivious. He's doing his thing. And it's inspiring. People are watching, observing this, and they're inspired. It's hashpah. The other extreme is teacher, fabrengen, getting involved in the world of the makabel. Obviously, that's changing him before, during, and after. That goes without saying. But then there's a middle darga. The middle darga is he's not actually engaged, but he's still compromising his behavior, knowing he's being observed. Tailoring it, knowing he's being observed. In other words, such a thing that he knows that if someone would see this, wouldn't understand it, and try and emulate it. It's not for them, it's not for them. Example, I'm not saying this is necessarily yeah, this is an example. So the Chassidim, Geshemen Legedelik is one of many rabbis of shuls. So he would daven Shabbos b'avodah, but his congregation didn't understand this. The minion, so he, what would he do? So he would come to shul. They say that Rabbi did this also, and it looked like he was davening with the minion. Stood there, the siddur, etc. And he was thinking, and then afterwards, went in his room with that. So what's that hashpah there? Is he engaging the people there? He's not talking to him. But he's misamtzim. He's being misamtzim himself, the recipients, because if they would see him just being, they're not doing as he would like to, as he is, and just sitting and learning, they're not even showing up, being in his room and davening, but just coming to Kedusha and Baruch. So people would not understand this and would have the wrong effect. So therefore, this is a middle ground. There is a tzimtzum, taking into account the viewer, the recipient, but at the same time, he's not engaging.
He's making an effort to make it choser.
Yeah, he's compromising his projection, his gilui. That's compromise. He's compromising the way what he's doing. If he would do what he would do now, it would be daven b'avodah, not pretend like he's going through the whole motions of davening. On the other hand, it isn't that. Oh, mamash. He's not engaged in toys, not talking to anybody. He's facing the wall. So that's the middle stage. Clear? It's not the true inyan of oir because he had to compromise. It's not unfettered me being. Oir is I am, and this is the natural expression. He's compromising the I am. But at the same time, he's not chef, he's not engaged. So that's required as well. So that's what he's saying here. It's the true inyan of oir is oir makif. Is right, he's not compromising at all. It just is. And then it affects people. Makif meaning to say he didn't take into account of all their matzah. It's completely beyond him. He is what he is. It's makif from the makabel. Because it's true to him. You follow what I'm saying? The true oir is when there's no tzimtzum at all. It's called the oir makif. Oir makif means that it's just, it does not, the way he is not at all taking into account the recipient. Therefore, it's makif over the recipient. It's not in his world. I'm me. You benefit, that's great. This example now, Pnimi is I'm not engaging you. I'm still just being me, but I'm compromising me in order that you, the viewer, be able to receive it and not be turned off or whatever the cheshbon might be. Clear? Let's see inside the words of the Maimer. The true inyan of where there's no changing again, is just being true to the natural expression of who I am, not working on this. It's who I am. Shefa, you have to work. Shefa is work. It is not work. This is what I am. Finish. Shefa is ashpa, a teacher. He's giving over, giving water, giving stock. It's work. Oid is having influence just by being, period. So the true union of Oid is Oid Makif. Which means it's Makif, the Makabel. It's not at all tailored to the Makabel's matzah. If I'm changing my projection because of the recipient, so here too, he's contracting himself according to the receiver, right? So he's pretending to daven with the minion. So he's compromising himself here. So there's this inyan of chassid even in oir, this middle level, even when you're not engaged in ashpa. The example I give you many other examples. Just a person cognizant that he's being viewed by others, and it's possible that they're going to not interpret what they see. So he's going to make sure that what's being projected is appropriate for the viewer. He's aware that he's being watched, and he's aware that he's an example. So he's careful. So he's not going to do things that really he could mitzad his matzah. But they're not a keli for it, so he's not going to show this.
Like not doing something for Marisai.
Like Marisai. Yeah, like Marisai.
Make an effort of not going to a place.
Exactly, Marisai. So are you actually engaging them? No, you're just compromising your behavior because of the viewer. So that is a case of in the gufa zechos. Still not shefa. You're not engaging them. It's not the same. The same kind of chassid as getting into the world and engaging them. That's a real.
Would you say it's holding back?
Or it could be expressing. It could be saying something that you wouldn't say. No, it could be anything. But it means a change in my behavior because I'm being viewed. Period. But not because I'm actually engaging them directly. It could be either way. It could be doing, not doing.
When you're talking about this, you're talking about the Eibusher essentially. It's just, when you say chassid, the Eibusher is chassid. Obviously you can't say that.
Kavayachon, yeah.
How can that be?
We're going to see what the will try and address this. That's the big danger of learning Chassidus. It's a very big danger. Is the point that you're saying you can forget that we kind of disembodied emotions, light, ashpah. We're talking about the Eibusher expressing himself. God expressing himself. But before we can then say, oh, so that's what it means, we have to understand first the Indian. But yes, what he's saying here, there's levels of a course where the Eibusher has chosen to be invested and affected. The Pella in the end is going to be that they are lower levels, but they really touch the essence. His essence is really affected.
And essentially,
the essence is more in shefa than in oil.
In one level, he never really changes anything.
Huh?
So in one sense, he doesn't really change. I'm saying essentially, he doesn't really change.
No, but he has chosen to because he chooses to. He does. No kunzi. It's not a show. This Ava Kadosh Baruch Hu, he craves to have a relationship with us, and that's he craves. He doesn't have it. God is essentially hurt. As a Yiddish, it's a chidus atzmus. There's no why you need this. There's no explanation. It's just taiva and the deepest levels. That's the paradox. We haven't gotten to this yet. Right now, shefa is lower than oil, obviously. It's a compromise. I'm not giving you me. I'm just getting to you. The teacher is teaching the students. That's no indication of the teacher's knowledge. Because he's teaching Alabes. He's teaching a simple Gemara. He's a big Talmud Chacham. It's a big chassid. It's a big descent, and that's not him. The end comes out that he's dafke invested in the Talmud, drawn his essence. That's the paradox. Every truth is paradoxical because the whole reality is to begin with. The foundation of everything is the ultimate paradox. The Eibusher wants a did it, and that's where he's found, and that's where he's invested, and he's affected. The beginning of everything is all this, the profoundest impossible paradox. And therefore, if we're going to touch the truth anywhere, and all of history and creation and any mitzvah, it's always going to be in this paradox. Then you touch the Eibishter there, because that's what it all is. Nisave did it b'tachtani, he wants a relationship with a little me. This is not justified, this is counterintuitive. It's the whole revolution of Chassidus. So till Chassidus, things were neat. It's all about up there and down here is lesser, up there is more, and that's closer, and this is further, and that's the end of the story. And no one spoke about God because, like, for us, it's very clear. There's reward and there's punishment, and it's pretty black and white. And the objective is to go that way. You've got to come down here to go that way, because then you earned it, and then you got brownie points. So that's close, and this is far. That's the end of the story. No, this tachten, that's where the true close is. Dafkin the Shefa, not in the areas. So the paradox is endless in every expression of existence. Dafkin the Maisa Mitzvah, not the Kavanah, that's where you connect the Atzmos. Over and over again. All right, we'll stop here.